Army.
Where did you serve?
I served in Korea.
And were you drafted or did you enlist yourself?
I volunteered for induction to get it over with.
Because
I was going to eventually get drafted, so I figured I might as well go and get it over with so I could plan my life. When I was 19 years old.
And so you didn't go to college? You went right from high school into the war?
I went from high school to work for a year and a half and then into the service.
Okay. Where did you work before you went into service?
I worked for the AMPT company in the supply department.
And did you quit that before you went in?
No, but I went in service and they guaranteed my job when I got back out. They have to. If you go in service, they have to hold your job for you. Most vivid. Probably finding out that I was stationed in the DMZ between the lines right after the war had ended. There was an armistice and the Chinese were here and the Americans were here. And we were working in the DMZ building compounds for Chinese prisoners who didn't want to go home.
So what is the DMZ exactly?
What?
What is the DMZ?
DMZ is the demarcation line between two countries. It's like an armistice line.
So you were fighting directly in between both of the countries?
Right, we were. It was a 2.5 mile buffer zone and we were in the middle.
So you were, did you kill people personally?
No, the war was over. I just said it just ended.
So you were helping like clean everything up?
Right. I was in the supply department in Korea. Actually a supply sergeant.
Okay, so what exactly did you do during the war then?
Well, initially, of course, I worked in the supply room until I learned how to run it, and eventually I ran it.
So you were in charge of all this?
Yeah, you first of all, you're responsible for clothing all the people in the company.
Mm.
And you're responsible for maintaining all the weapons in the company. And you're responsible for buying all the material that all the engineers use. In other words, we have different. I was in headquarters company. We had A company, B company, C company, D company, but they all used different materials for their projects, and it was all ordered through the headquarters company supplier. And then we had 400 laborers that were attached to us, and I was responsible for parceling them out in the morning. They would come. They'd march up the hill, and I'd say, "Okay, 10 go here, 20 go here."
Okay. So what are the projects specifically?
That we did in Korea?
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, we ran we were support for the 1st Marine Division. We maintained all their roads, supplied all their water. We rebuilt churches and schools, bridges. Built an underground CP in a mountain for the Rock Army, which took us 8 months. Worked 24 hours a day for 8 months to do it.
So how long were you there for?
I was there 14 months.
14 months, and then you left and came home and went back to work?
No, right. I came home, and I couldn't go back to work in a supply room. I just couldn't do it. So they put me to work in a store underneath it was in the same building, and said that I could work there as a cashier until I got a little older and I could send me to school to be a manager of some sort. But I got married and then I came home in December. I went back to work January. Got married in April, and I never worked for anybody again. Well, the fact of the number of people that there were 50,000 men killed in Korea.
Do you remember seeing that or hearing it?
Right. And also the Chinese got into the war, and they were attacking the American lines, and they hadn't been in there originally. One division after another. Dissent?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
You didn't? Were people angry about the war generally, did you feel like?
No, we had to go. In fact, it's the problem today. That they should have a draft to make everybody go in service. Spend a year working for the country in some form or another. Because we got a bunch of unpatriotic kids running around the country. Number one, it didn't involve that many people. It wasn't like World War II.
Yeah.
So I don't think the people really didn't have an opinion on it, right? Can you remember anybody having an opinion on the war? Not really.
You just did it.
Lasted 3 years. It was violent for 3 years. It was example being Vietnam lasted 10 years and 60 some odd thousand casualties, and Korea had 50 in 3 years. So you can see how much more violent it was.
Yeah. Life or scared
No,
at
because the
any
war
point?
had ended.
So you didn't feel threatened
No,
at
the
all?
only thing was that everything was, there were a lot of mines and stuff out in the DMZ, so you didn't wander around, you stayed in the same spot, you know.
Yeah.
Our company area had been cleared and all the mines had been cleared out of it. So you stayed in your company area, you don't go wandering around.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I lived in a tent with 10 men. We were all sergeants, so we all ran. Nothing moved if we didn't want it to move. And we had a great camaraderie. And got along really good. And had a lot of fun, you know.
So you lived in the DMZ in a tent?
Yeah, I lived in a tent all while I was in Korea. They built a floor, put a big tent over it with a frame so it held its shape. Put a front and back door on it. And they had 2 stoves in there. But in the winter, the water froze. It meant you couldn't even get it, you couldn't use the water. It was always really cold inside.
Yeah.
And we had rats running around all over the place.
So it wasn't sanitary at all?
You know, we were in rice paddies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see any like destruction of like cities or anything like that while you
I
were
saw
there?
a lot of
And
destruction,
bodies?
sure. It had occurred before I got there. When you go to Seoul, the building where the National Assembly met had no back in it. Yeah. And all around Seoul, there was buildings blown up. You know, there was just damage all over the country. Very few paved roads. Even. It was a very primitive country.
Yeah.
You know?
So you were there to help restore everything, basically, was your job.
Well, the engineers did. Yeah, they did a lot of good stuff. We ran road patrol, record patrol. We just did a bridge. We were responsible for evacuation of the 1st Marine Division if they got trapped. They were up north of the Imjin River. And if they got attacked and got trapped up there, it was our responsibility to get them out. We had a bridge battalion. I used to go up there and practice throwing the bridge across the river. The people that the Koreans are dependent on them, you know. If they given a chance, they would steal from you, because they didn't have anything. You give it, you know. One day I was watching some men working that I had assigned in the company area near the fence, and all of a sudden I see the shells go flying over the fence, you know. And they would come back at night and get them, you know. Stuff like that. They stuck into our company area and stole all the pumps, so we couldn't take any showers one winter for 4 months.
Oh my gosh. So you went 4 months without showering?
There were small little pumps for pumping water from one section to another, but they also were great for pumping water from one rice paddy to another. And they had never seen anything like this, so they were gold to the Koreans. Then they used to steal when they went in one morning. A fellow came into my supply room and he said, "There's nothing left in our tent." I said, "What do you mean there's nothing left?" He says, "I can't even get dressed." He's like in his underwear. I said, "Well, how could that be?" He says, they came in during the night and stole everything in the tent while we were sleeping. They jumped the fence. So I had to get them all new clothes. But the thought, you know, when you think about it, they could have just as easily cut their throat. You know?
Mm.
So we had that constantly, and finally I had enough. So a party of men, and we went down to the village, and we went through the village and just grabbed everything we had that was there, that was our stuff, out of the village. And in the process, we kind of knocked the house down a little. So the mayor of Munsani came up, and I had apologized to him and sent a group of workers down there to put the house back together.
Did you regret doing that at all? Did you regret doing that?
No.
You didn't? You thought
No.
they deserved it after stealing?
Well, I was responsible for all the equipment, and they were stealing it.
Yeah.
So the company commander would say, "Mother, we got no pumps." I said, "Well, they stole it. Well, you know, what are you doing about it?"